Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. We have a question today, and it came into the website, and it's from Ed Lindsay, and he says, a subject I have not seen you address is the elevation of ball flight. I have been using the Surge swing for almost a year. I'm 81, 5'5" tall, 5 feet 5 inches tall, and 145 pounds, 15 handicap index, and I use a 10.5 degree driver. I hit a high ball and get about 190 yards. Occasionally I will get a lower trajectory and the ball will go another 10 or 15 yards. Any thoughts on how I might develop a consistent lower trajectory? Thanks, Ed. Good question, and I think you're right. We've never really had this one yet. And Ed, there's a number of things you can do. Now, at your age, I'm not going to tell you like I would tell somebody younger, maybe go and try a 9.5 driver, because I think at your age, there's no doubt that loft is in your driver, in your fairway woods, and really even in your long irons, if you still have them, is all relative to good flight. And we're talking, when you say elevation, the term we use is trajectory. The trajectory of that your launch angle and the height the ball travels is directly proportionate to and related to club head speed. And so if you don't have enough club head speed, it's like no matter how solid you hit it, you're not going to get a high enough launch angle. Now, despite everything else, what you want is a good launch angle that will give you good height and possibly still roll out. Now, the key is that I have a 10.5 driver in my bag. Right now, it's winter time, and we've been getting a lot of rain. The fairways are soft, and they let the fairways grow up just before the first frost, because we got Bermuda fairways here, and so they let it grow up so they'll be more sustainable through the winter and a better playing grass for the winter. So with the height of the grass together with the softness of the grass, the ball's not going to roll very much. So like right now, I don't care how good I hit my driver, whether I hit it at a nice high trajectory, which is what I really like to normally play at high, get carry, and versus hitting it lower so it'll run, like you said in your question here, is that no matter what, it's not going to run this time of year. Very little. Maybe if it doesn't rain for about 3 or 4 weeks and the fairways start getting hard, I'll start getting some run, and then I'll be like you, 15, 20, maybe sometimes even longer if it's on very flat and ground and the ball can really motor out there when it gets hard. So the first thing you have to think about is conditions. So even if wherever you play, if the fairways end up getting soft because they water them a lot and/or it rains a lot of times, or they let the grass stay a little bit longer, you're still going to have trouble getting rolled, even if you hit it down. So the key, I would say, for you is if your conditions stay really consistent and a higher flight doesn't roll that much, but yet when you do not get it lower, you get a lot of roll, then I think the key is to start figuring out what we can do to hit the ball lower. First thing I would look at is your ball position, and if your ball position gets too back, for example, you could start hitting the club high on the club face, hitting the ball high on the club face. I'm going to get my driver out here. Now, you'll know that really quick because it's not going to sound very solid, might even sound tinny. But if you start hitting it up near here, and we see that a lot of times players put marks on the top of their ball, sky marks. That's from basically an outside-in swing coming down, and they might actually be taking hitting the driver hitting into the ground. And so that'll be obvious. If you're hitting it solid and it's still going too high, I would say start working with the height of the tee and maybe lower the tee down a little bit. Now, the other thing that could be causing this too is there's a lot of people who still believe that you should hit down somewhat on a tee shot, to a point where I've had people tell me, yeah, they feel like they should almost try to break a tee going down. So if you're somewhat hitting down on the tee, or you could be hanging back and swinging up. That in other words, if you're aiming right and you come in here and you have a tendency to have to go backwards a little bit to get behind the ball and hit it with some power, you'll be coming back and coming in from under the ball and adding loft to the club, especially if the ball goes straight and cuts a little. So the key would be to check your alignment so that you can come and hit a square-on shot. You could lower the ball, trying to the tee, so the ball's lower, and try to swing more level through the ball a little bit. And/or from here, just start thinking about swinging up, and you hit it on the upswing, But again, if you're swinging up and the ball is hitting solid, but you're still getting too much height, then I would think about wanting to get in there and try to feel like you're going to come through impact more level, a little bit longer through impact. So instead of coming through and up, and again, really watch this back foot, because that's a way to hit the ball higher. If you kind of hang back on that back foot just a little bit long and come in through here like this, you can really be, so to speak, swinging up so fast it's actually too fast, unless you're really standing here and trying to like take it over a corner, and you really got to get some height to get over the trees, because that's where we get in here, get a little more preloaded heavy right, stay back a little bit longer and swing up a little sharper up to get a sharper launch angle. But naturally, if I wanted to hit the ball lower on purpose, I normally do not tee the ball lower, because if you tee it lower, then in many cases you might not have enough loft on the club to even get it up at that point. I tee the ball high, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit, so to speak, a knockdown driver, which will be coming back, and I'm going to extend, and I'm just going to try to stay more level through the ball. I tee it just as high as I tee it if I wanted to hit a high ball, because the higher it is, the more I can come from under the ball. And this way I want to come, as if I want to hit it lower, I want to come in more level through the ball and stay a little level longer through. Now I can hit two ways. I can make a regular normal swing coming through more level, so I stand up maybe a little bit taller, and make a little bit more level swing approaching here, but staying a little bit level a little bit longer, and that should knock the flight down and hit a lower drive. Okay? Be right back. My tee went for a ride. Now, if I really wanted to hit it low, like into the wind, or whatever, then I would hit a knockdown driver. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm still going to stand tall. I'm still going to try to stay low through here, but I'm going to really keep my finish even lower and somewhat abbreviated and stop shorter. I'm not going to go all the way up to the tee finish. And that's what I call a knockdown driver, just as if I was hitting a knockdown iron from the fairway. So I'll just stand the same way, hit the same shot, come through level, and just cut the driver off a little bit shorter in the finish. All right, so here's what that looks like. And that ball probably won't get more than 20 or 30 feet in the air, if that much. Okay, and so I think that's the big key. I think there's a good chance, swing-wise, you might be hanging back a little bit and coming through, because you're coming back, you're hitting more under the bottom of the ball. So think about maybe trying to strike it more centered in the equator, or just barely under the equator, but you might be getting under it too much, and check to see that you're not falling back. Just do a shadow swing in the sun, like I see my shadow right there, and see if you're hanging back too much as compared to swinging up to the tee finish. Okay? So there's a couple options on the setup, couple options on the swing. And with that, hopefully you'll find the answer and be able to hit those balls lower when you want to hit them lower. And again, you can find that answer. We got situational shots on our website, videos for sale, and most of this stuff is in there about hitting these shots, including if you want to add some draw to it to make it go even lower and run even more. Okay? Well, that's it from the Surge for today on trying to hit a lower driver, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.